This story is getting nuts, and now Jay-Z's law firm has entered the chat because they're repping the publicist who leaked all of the messages to help Blake Lively. But oh my goodness, guys, the truth behind all this, I believe, is far more sinister than anybody's sharing. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and this story is just getting wilder and wilder by the day. This is a lot to digest, but I'm going to do my best to try to educate you because, guys, the dark underbelly of Hollywood is being exposed by these crisis PR people, but also the lawyers, the actors, and it's imperative you watch this case as a case study. I'm not here to defend Justin Baldoni. I don't like the dude. I think he's guilty. Why? Because the text messages from his own team say it. That's a really bad look. They don't like him. There's more coming. As this new lawsuit's proving, this publicist who is out there smearing Blake and defending him hates him and says it multiple times in text messages. I don't care about Justin Baldoni, but he's just a pawn in this Hollywood game of power and corruption, and they're doing the same exact thing to him that they're alleging he did to them. And it's mind-blowing. I want to break it all down because this just broke. This is what's happening currently, and you need to sort of understand the players, and this article helps to sort of explain who's who. Now, enter Stephanie Jones into the chat, who TMZ is calling a big deal celebrity publicist who reps Tom Brady and Venus Williams, etc., and Baldoni up until this year anyway. And the lawsuit just dropped because she's suing her ex-employee, Jennifer Abel. Now, Jennifer Abel was the publicist who was repping Baldoni during all of this. When things were getting hairy and Justin was worried that there was going to be harassment claims, they hired a crisis PR firm, Melissa Nathan, who they are bringing up was Johnny Depp's crisis PR opportunity person at the moment. But there's no reason to make that connection to Johnny. I don't know why they keep doing, but I'm mentioning that to you so you can help remember who is. Abel and Nathan are the ones that are in all those text messages about we're going to destroy Blake, yada, yada, yada. They're the players in this. There's another guy named Jed who was their fixer. Anyway, now Stephanie is suing. Now, Stephanie is the person they got the phone from. So I want to now take you back here. Friedman, Baldoni's lawyer, is making it clear that this is all nonsense. They cherry-picked these messages. He's even invited Variety to review all the texts and emails regarding the handling of the campaign. Come to your own conclusion. It'll open up and show you the complete truth, how there wasn't any smear campaign. They didn't have to. There wasn't anything initiated by them. There was talk and prep, but the text messages apparently prove all that. Now, Jones's lawyer, Stephanie Jones, the one who's now suing, who's trying to say, I have no egg on my face. Her attorney is saying that she's being made a scapegoat just because she responded to a subpoena. Desperate to shift attention away from their disgraceful sliming of Blake Lively, Baldoni's team is doubling down on their smears by going after someone who had nothing whatsoever to do with this ugly campaign. Sure, says Kristen Tyler, partner at Quinn Emanuel, Jay-Z's law firm. This is a very powerful law firm. I'm probably going to get in trouble now for uncovering and actually trying to expose all these people for the truth. So please show your support down below. Make sure you're subscribed and put your chats in. But I'm telling you guys, this is a rock we need to uncover to really get to the truth as to why mainstream media and Hollywood is so full of it. Now, she's saying, the lawyer for Stephanie is saying, having pushed Steph Jones out of her long-standing business with Baldoni, Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan are now looking for a scapegoat. Steph for having the temerity to respond to a court-ordered subpoena. Unfortunately for them, she won't be bullied, blah, 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 threats to be sued into oblivion. She's just going on there. So who is this Steph Jones? Who is Steph Jones? Well, I urge you to go look up this Business Insider piece, which set the whole ball rolling because Stephanie Jones, who's claiming she's a victim of this as well, and I just was following a subpoena and gave Blake Jennifer Abel's phone because I'm following the rules. No, Stephanie Jones had a bone to pick. Stephanie Jones has multiple things against her where she's apparently, allegedly, been extremely vindictive when ex-employees try to leave or celebrities try to leave. She's allegedly behind the takedown of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson when he left because he wasn't feeling it anymore. Then there was that whole point of like, he pees in water bottles. He shows up late. He's rude on set. Apparently, Stephanie Jones is the type of publicist that if you wrong her, she goes out there and shares your dirty laundry. Allegedly, you can read the Business Insider lawsuit to learn a lot more about how cutthroat and vindictive this woman is and some really horrible complaints that I'm shocked Blake Lively wouldn't also throw her under the bus as well. But what I think happened here, and I'm going to show you through other reports here coming in from the trades, she made a deal with Blake Lively. They both had an incentive. And as soon as this lawsuit dropped, I was like, well, there it is. Now I understand what happened. Blake Lively wanted to get Justin Baldoni. She really wanted to save her own reputation. So what did she do? She found an enemy of his team. And what that woman did, and here it is coming from the reports, Jones was the one person known to have possession of Abel's phone after parting ways with her subordinate. Observers say it's telling that Jones is not mentioned in Lively's complaint, even though she too engaged in efforts to boost her client's standing in the feud with his star. In an added tangle, Jones is married to Jason Hodes, a partner at the talent agency WME, which represents Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Be it WME also represents Baldoni, but dropped him as a client after the complaint was filed. Again, lines are being drawn. Power players are being established. This woman has support, has a partner husband at WME who reps Blake and Ryan. So there's all this inside stuff that they knew they could get to her, and they could help dangle her out because she herself, Jones, was getting exposed by many employees and celebrities as a vindictive, awful publicist person. And she knew the writing was on the wall. So in my opinion, this is my opinion, my conspiracy theory, that she knew the writing was on the wall. I'm going to throw them under the bus and then sue them. I'm going to make it all I'm going to get out of this clean, and I'm going to make them look all bad. And that's now what this lawsuit's doing. She made a deal with Blake. They realized, let's help each other. I want to share this portion from Puck, from Matthew Baldoni, another really good insider, who really also sort of gets to the dirty grossness of Blake Lively's legal team and her team itself are doing. Now he goes on and says, listen, look, it's weird. And he does doubt that, yes, it ends with us. Clearly, we're starting to see a shift on social due largely to the team's efforts to shift the narrative. That sure sounds like inflammation. So he's saying, look, there was some sort of response and they were definitely trying to retaliate. But he also notes that the Times also acknowledges that it's impossible to determine whether any of their alleged sliming that was done by Abel and Nathan was actually responsible for the shift in sentiment. The ultimate damage to Lively's brand. Sales of those brands tanked after the Baldoni onslaught is said to have begun, but how much is provably his team's fault? And that's important because this is all about retaliation. The harassment's sort of all there. I'm not supporting Baldoni. The dude, I think, did some creepy stuff. I'm not here to defend him, but I want to defend our reporting and also reporting in general that we were reacting to Blake Lively's mean girl attitude in videos that she did herself. Nothing to do with Blake with Justin and his team. There's nothing to do with it. I don't care about him. This isn't about him. I mean, it is, but he's got his own battles to fight, and we're not going to fight those battles for him. But I am going to expose Blake for doing the same thing she's accusing him of. And I find it incredibly hypocritical, and she is throwing her weight around. Sorry, your power. Don't sue me, Blake. I didn't mean that as a knock. But really, what world are we in now where that's literally everything is so delicate that we can be sued over a power play? Blake Lively is incredibly powerful. She's married to Ryan Reynolds. She's best friends with Taylor Swift. That is a trifecta of power in Hollywood that is pretty hard to come by this day and age of streaming and everything else. So yes, she has a massive amount of power and sway, and she did throw her weight around to get her cut made and to get her way through Sony because she's the talent. Baldoni only had some control because he repped the book, and I think that was to the chagrin of both the author and Blake, and part of the reason why a lot of this happened in the first place. This was all about control. Who could control the movie? That's my belief. Now, again, it does seem like Baldoni has his own issues of not following boundaries, and I'm not excusing that. If that's all proven to be true, shame on him. He needs to apologize. But, if you really had a problem with him and he's the monster you say, Blake, why'd you let him make the movie? This is an important book to a lot of people. And so you let some SH monster make a film about DV and then wait for all the profits to roll in before you expose him? That's not what you do. That's not the proper way if you really want to stand up for the victims. You got your check, and now you're going vindictive on a holiday, and I see it. I see it for what it is. Both these people suck, in my opinion. And I want to continue because, look, here he even says, what's interesting and frankly a little bit gross is how Lively's team has chosen to fight back. Her lawyers at Myatt, Winklevar, and Gallagher filed this matter as a 10-count complaint with California's Civil Rights Department. It's not an actual lawsuit. It's important we mention that because everyone, myself included, assumed this was a lawsuit. It's a complaint, and it's the first step towards a suit. It encourages the state to investigate, but also allows for some rare pre-complaint discovery strategy that she once used on behalf of Drake in his war with Universal Music Group. That led to an early subpoena of these private and highly inflammatory text messages, not from Abel or Baldoni or anyone at Wayfair, but from none other than Stephanie Jones, who terminated Abel in late August and by all accounts hates her guts. Jones and Abel split shortly after the release of It Ends With Us and the publication of that Business Insider story, the one I showed you earlier. Though Jones continued to rep Wayfair, multiple sources told me that Jones confiscated Abel's work phone as part of that split, which was particularly heated because Abel was leaving to start her own firm. A threat to Jones. Since then, Jones has been on a crusade against her former colleague, and those who know Jones well have told me she will stop at nothing to harm a perceived enemy. So retaliatory? So Blake is now letting a woman who's despicable retaliate to other women. Well, there's despicable too, so she can retaliate towards Baldoni. I thought we were standing up for women here. What's going on? This is ugly, and it only gets uglier, folks. Nobody wants to report on this because it's nitty gritty. It took me 11 minutes to get you to understand and really process this, but it's important you do because this is how Hollywood works. Let's keep going. Jones has been on crusade against her former colleague, and those who know Jones well have told me she will stop at nothing to harm a perceived enemy. When Jones didn't like a story written about her clients, Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos, this Page 6 story calling me sexist appears days later by Sarah Nathan, Melissa's sister. When Dwayne Johnson split with Jones last year, negative media coverage began appearing about him. At the time, Jones denied she was responsible. So all of a sudden, Jones was subpoenaed for Abel's private communications, which then were leaked to the Times for an article that absolutely buried Abel. At the very least, it appears that Jones maybe volunteered those texts to harm her nemesis, even if they also hurt Wayfair, and Lively's lawyers maybe laundered the source via the subpoena. Compliance with the subpoena could also free Jones from confidentiality obligations she had to Abel. She let them bury her own client to shut down her competitor. That's how vicious this woman allegedly is. It also maybe seems that notable that neither Jones nor her company, Jonesworks, is mentioned in a single time in either the legal Lively's complaint or the Times story, despite being a Wayfair publicist and Abel's employer when much of the alleged nefarious activities went down. The Times noted that Nathan's PR firm was backed by Scooter Braun, but that tidbit would have been even more interesting had the story mentioned that Braun has also been repped by, you guessed it, Steph Jones. Braun's passive involvement in a slime campaign against Lively and his nemesis Taylor Swift herself, master of her own media narrative, adds another incestuous element to this sordid affair. So were there some axes to grind here? Yes. On top of that, the fact that Jones's husband, as I said, is an agent at WME, which reps both Lively and Ryan, and which just dropped Baldoni, no doubt under pressure from Reynolds and Lively's. Keeping up, WME also represents Puck, but not him personally. So good on you, Matthew, for actually putting all the truth out there. Speaking of WME, the agency, let's not pretend that agency whose parent company continues to employ caught on video W. Beer, Dana White, cut Baldoni due to anything other than financial considerations. I've had several conversations with WM agents this year about how they don't just quickly cancel people. They consider accusations carefully and convene a client action committee of stakeholders before they drop anyone, as they did with Morgan Wallen after his racist comments. Yet no such committee was convened before Baldoni was booted. Why? Optics. Yes, and both Sony and SAG have since put their statements supporting Lively, but Lively and Reynolds, a massive WME client, are almost certainly calling the shots. Do you see that? They're in charge. They are the power. You can't ignore that. That's incredibly important. Remember when J.J. Abrams and his wife basically demanded that CA fire this one guy because he was accused of conduct? Similar vibes here. Anyway, knowing that this Steph Jones angle would come out during the litigation, Lively's lawyers admitted to me today that her company was the source of the texts. The subpoena disclosed and referenced in the complaint was severed on Jonesworks LLC. In a statement, the internal documents referred in the complaint were produced subject to subpoena. They say more information forthcoming, but declined to comment. For its part, The Times story, whose byline includes Megan Twohey of Harvey Weinstein Pulitzer fame, further elevating the allegations, revealed only that private communications were subpoenaed, neglecting to mention that they were subpoenaed from Jones, who has a clear axe to grind in this situation. That's maybe interesting too. Why did you skip that, Megan? I thought you were like this amazing journalist. You screwed over Kirsty, and now you're ignoring the source and what that actually could mean to save Blake Lively? Why? Because she's a woman? I don't understand this. There's so much shadiness behind this whole case. And again, screw Justin Baldoni. I'm not doing this to defend him. I'm sure he'll use some of this to defend himself. But let's call a spade a spade. Blake Lively is a bully, and I think a mean girl, and she doesn't want to hear it. And so now look at all the power she's making herself and Ryan do to make all this work. And yet another fuel to fire, Brian, the litigator, Baldoni, is now claiming that the complete set of texts from Abel's phone will show that Lively's team cherry-picked communication and are deliberately misleading, altered, and are taken out of context. The irony, he said, will be that the smear campaign is Lively's team purposely withholding texts that prove that no smear campaign ever took place. The texts out there already are pretty bad. Regardless, Friedman is now planning to sue Jones personally. Steph did not respond to my comment because now she is suing herself. This literally just dropped. And as this is coming, literally, this is ugly because she not only stole the phone to help Blake Lively, but to help herself. She alleges that between the women, one of which shows Melissa telling Jennifer, once you are gone, I'll be basically, I'm going to shut this law firm down, probably because they hate it. But here's the juicy one. Stephanie stresses her ex-employee Jennifer didn't even like Baldoni. One alleged text said, I can't stand him. He's so pompous. You're not that important and nobody gives an S about how hard your life is. She texted Baldoni he needed to be taken down a notch. In projecting it ends with might bomb, she wrote, he needs to be humbled. When this movie flops, he's going to try to blame every person around him for it. So I guess they didn't actually believe in him. So look, this is a mess. And this guy must be stressing like crazy. People's out there. He's out there spending time with his wife. Let's not forget, he's got his own kids and wife to deal with. And Blake Lively decided to file this over Christmas. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds has been a rock. People's putting multiple Ryan Reynolds. Here's his mindset since filing the lawsuit. Oh, go help the sick kids. And sure, of course, help the sick kids. But as Puck also donates, this is something Ryan Reynolds has done a lot. There's a lot of sort of positioning of timing of things, of when things are done, that you guys can't lose focus of what's actually happening here. That there are two massive Hollywood players trying to rehabilitate their image, and they will stomp on anybody to do so, and they'll work with people just as bad as the ones they're claiming they're suing and let them go just to get their own vengeance. It is ugly, it is gross, and of course Jay-Z's law firm is of course repping this deplorable woman, who I'm sure no doubt is going to start coming after me because I'm going to spotlight it again. This feels very Lou Taylor-y. There's a lot of shady people behind the scenes that are getting away with it. Now, Baldoni may need to be checked. It does seem like he did, but Blake, this is not the way either. You are a hypocrite, in my opinion. And yeah, we don't like you based on your actions in the videos. Maybe they spotlighted it. Maybe they put it on the air, but we all reacted to it and they went viral because you need to fend for your own actions, just like we all do. We're all human. You should go to Kirsty and have an interview with her and apologize to her. You were rude to her. And she isn't working for this firm. I know I've talked to her often. She and I are both ready. Come for us and try to prove that we were paid by any of these lunatics, because we weren't. And so shameful behavior and all around. And this is a story I'm absolutely going to keep track on because it affects all of what we report. Crisis management is a big deal in Hollywood. And some would say we're part of it, etc., during the Johnny Depp phase and everything else. And it clearly affects things because now Amber's using it. Christina Ricci defending Amber. Oh my God, this makes me so sad. Did you not watch the trial, Christina? Come on, what are you doing? But this is how it's going to start being played. And we're all going to be chauvinistic, misogynistic, yada, yada, yada. Why aren't we believing women? Not on my watch. We're going to keep it honest, and I'm going to call these people out, and I hope you'll follow along and show your support. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for all alerts, smash that like button, and leave a comment. This was a lot to digest. I hope you appreciate it. And if you followed all the way, tell me, I got you, Andy. That was amazing. Thanks for updating me and keep me posted. I will check your comments. Have a wonderful Christmas. Merry Christmas. I'm getting offline for a few days.